When the camera first appeared, traditional artists dismissed photography as a mechanical shortcut for those who couldn't paint. Decades later, that same reflex resurfaced, only this time the target was moving. To understand the early criticism of film, we have to look at the terrifying physical reality of 19th century theater. A stage play was a continuous, unbroken sprint. There were no retakes, no edits, and no second chances. A stage actor had to conquer a massive volume of space, relying on vocal power and broad, exaggerated body language just to ensure their performance reached the back rows of these intimidating auditoriums. Every night was a high-wire act. If an actor missed a mark or forgot a line, the mistake was live, public, and permanent. For centuries, theatrical art was defined by this inescapable physical endurance, the ability to survive the unforgiving constraints of shared space and continuous time. Then, in the late 1890s, the motion picture camera arrived. Originally, these devices were designed simply to record reality as it happened. In France, the Lumière brothers led a group of European inventors racing to refine the cinematograph. Simultaneously, Thomas Edison was leading a parallel race in the US to capture and distribute moving images to a burgeoning mass audience. These early cameras were largely used as recording devices for existing entertainment. They were locked down in wide, static shots, capturing vaudeville acts from a fixed audience perspective. Stage purists reacted with immediate disdain. Because film allowed for multiple takes and a performance patched together from different moments, it removed the physical risk of live acting. To veterans of the stage, the camera looked like a lazy shortcut for performers who couldn't handle the pressure of the spotlight. This set the stage for a century of debate. Did removing the live audience actually make the artist's job easier? Or did the camera secretly demand a completely new type of creative labor? When early stage actors transitioned to the screen, they brought their mandatory broad gestures with them. On film, their booming protections and sweeping movements looked campy and absurd. The cinematic close-up shattered the safe distance between actor and audience. It introduced terrifying microscopic scrutiny, where a single twitch revealed a character's internal state. Pioneers like Lillian Gish realized the camera required a new technique of restraint. A slight eye movement carried the emotional weight of a theatrical scream. The actor's effort hadn't disappeared. It was driven inward. It became a grueling demand for microscopic authenticity. There was also a shift in the environment itself. In theater, the physical stage is a given, static space. In cinema, every frame begins as a blank void. A film director must manually construct and light every single detail the audience sees. Early directors like D.W. Griffith pioneered the manipulation of perspective and shadow to guide the viewer's eye. Creating a single shot required immense technical labor. Directors used three-point lighting and specific angles to manufacture a mood absent in the natural world. The director's role evolved into the mechanical engineering of the audience's exact perspective. The most radical shift, however, happened after the camera stopped. Filmmakers discovered that a cinematic performance is actually manufactured in post-production. This introduced the painstaking labor of film editing, where strips of celluloid were literally sliced and glued together to build a narrative whole. The Kuleshov experiment proved that intercutting a static face with a bowl of soup engineers the emotion of hunger. Meaning in film comes from the invisible collision between separate images, rather than the actor's performance alone. By manipulating rhythm, speed, and duration, editors can subconsciously build tension, sorrow, or excitement. Editing proves that film is not a lazy recording of a performance. It is the artificial, deliberate assembly of a new reality. The effort in storytelling never truly disappeared. It was reallocated from the physical endurance of the stage to the technical disciplines of lighting, framing, and editing. We see this same cycle today with the emergence of AI-generated video. Once again, a new technology is facing the same accusation of laziness. When we see these digital grids resolve into a face, we see the labor the AI removes, the makeup kits, the physical set building, the light rigging. We don't yet see the new effort of iterative curation required to force a chaotic system into a specific, intended vision. Dismissing an AI filmmaker as lazy for bypassing the physical light kit is exactly like a 19th century stage actor calling a film director lazy for doing a second take. This is the law of conservation of craft. Human creativity does not shrink when given new tools. The effort simply changes form to push the boundaries of what the new tool can do. By the late 1920s, silent film had finally silenced its critics, perfecting a beautiful, wordless visual language. The era represented the undisputed peak of a global cinematic culture. But just as filmmakers mastered this art form, a new disruption emerged that threatened to render their silent craft obsolete: synchronized sound. The arrival of the talkies caused immediate panic across the industry. The battle over real art is never over. The arrival of sound forced the medium to reinvent itself and justify its existence all over again.